In the long history of aviation, there have been aircraft that redefined what was possible, planes that stretched the imagination of engineers and inspired generations to look upward in awe. But among all of them, among the legends of the air, there stood one that seemed less like a product of human industry and more like a vision from a dream. Imagine a machine so massive it could carry another aircraft on its back, so immense that only a few airports on the planet were strong enough to handle its weight, so unique that only one of its kind ever existed. That machine was the Antonov An-225 Mriya. Mriya, meaning dream in Ukrainian. It was not just an airplane. It was a statement of human ambition, an engineering triumph born from Cold War rivalries, and later, a global symbol of hope, pride, and the boundless potential of flight. And when it was lost in the fires of war, the world mourned not just the destruction of a machine, but the fall of a legend. To understand how this incredible aircraft came to be, we need to return to the late 1970s and early 1980s, a time when two superpowers were locked in a race for dominance, not just in space, but in every technological arena. The United States had unveiled its space shuttle program, a reusable spacecraft that captured the world's imagination. To move the shuttle between landing sites and launch facilities, NASA modified a Boeing 747 into the Shuttle Carrier aircraft, a flying platform capable of ferrying the shuttle on its back. The Soviet Union, not to be outdone, launched its own space shuttle project, Buran. But Buran needed the same logistical capability to be transported across vast distances for assembly, testing, and launch. Instead of modifying an existing plane, Soviet engineers made an audacious decision. They would design something entirely new, something bigger, stronger, and more capable than anything else that had ever flown. The task fell to the Antonov Design Bureau in Kyiv, one of the USSR's most respected aviation powerhouses. Antonov was already famous for creating the An-124 Ruslan, the world's largest cargo plane at the time. But even the mighty An-124 wasn't enough. To carry the 62-ton Buran orbiter, complete with its support equipment, Antonov's engineers needed to think on a scale the world had never seen. The design process was monumental. The engineers took the An-124 as their foundation and expanded every dimension. They lengthened the fuselage, reinforced the wings, added 2 more engines, bringing the total to 6, and developed a landing gear system with 32 wheels to distribute the incredible weight. When finished, the An-225 would stretch 84 meters from nose to tail and span 88 meters across its wings, wider than any aircraft before or since. Its maximum takeoff weight would exceed 640 metric tons. It wasn't just the largest airplane in the world. It was the heaviest flying object humanity had ever built. Every feature of the An-225 was designed for purpose. Its massive cargo hold could swallow entire locomotives or wind turbine blades, while its reinforced spine and mounting system allowed it to carry the Buran shuttle externally on its back. Its 6 Ivchenko Progress D-18T turbofan engines produced more than 300,000 pounds of combined thrust, enough to lift skyscraper-sized payloads into the air. In December of 1988, after years of development and testing, the Antonov An-225 made its first flight. The sight of it leaving the runway was unlike anything witnesses had ever seen. Its 6 engines roared in synchronized thunder as it climbed into the gray Kyiv sky, casting an enormous shadow across the airfield. People watched in stunned silence, then erupted into cheers. The Mriya had taken flight. Within months, the aircraft began breaking world records, over 200 of them in total. It carried unprecedented payloads, set altitude records with heavy cargo, and proved its capability in every category imaginable. But the defining moment came when it carried the Buran shuttle atop its back, soaring over the Soviet Union in a triumphant display of technological power. It looked like something from science fiction. a spacecraft riding a flying Leviathan, the future of aviation unfolding in real time. But history, as it often does, took an unexpected turn. In 1991, just as the An-225 was beginning to show its potential, the Soviet Union collapsed. The space program was canceled. The Buran shuttle's hangar roof collapsed years later, destroying the orbiter itself. With no mission and no funding, the world's largest airplane was grounded. For nearly a decade, the Mriya sat in silence inside a hangar at Hostomel Airport, just outside Kyiv. Its engines were removed. Parts of its structure were cannibalized for other aircraft. The second An-225 airframe, planned to create a fleet of two giants, was left unfinished, gathering dust in storage. For many, it seemed the dream had ended before it truly began. But dreams, as Ukraine would later prove, have a way of returning. In the early 2000s, global demand for ultra-heavy air transport began to rise. Power plants needed to move oversized turbines. Construction companies required the transport of massive equipment. Humanitarian organizations needed rapid deployment of relief supplies after disasters. And in each case, they faced the same problem. No existing aircraft could handle the size or weight of what needed to be moved. There was only one answer: the An-225. Antonov Airlines decided to bring the giant back to life. Engineers inspected the old airframe, restored its engines, modernized its systems, and returned it to operational status. When it rolled out again, freshly painted in the blue and yellow of Ukraine's national colors, aviation enthusiasts around the world rejoiced. The dream had returned to the skies. From then on, it became a flying legend. It carried enormous cargoes across continents: gas turbines, locomotives, massive generators, entire factory components. It became an indispensable tool in humanitarian missions, delivering supplies after the Haiti earthquake, the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, and during the COVID-19 pandemic, when it transported vital medical equipment. Each time it landed, thousands of people would line up near fences and observation decks just to catch a glimpse. Crowds would cheer, cameras would roll, and the internet would light up with awe. The An-225 wasn't just an aircraft anymore. It was a celebrity. For Ukraine, it became something even deeper, a national symbol. The Mriya embodied Ukrainian pride, engineering brilliance, and independence. Wherever it flew, it carried the Ukrainian flag on its tail, a moving testament to the country's ingenuity. Pilots described flying it as both a privilege and a responsibility. Mechanics and engineers treated it with reverence. It was more than metal and rivets. It was the beating heart of Ukrainian aviation. But in February 2022, the unthinkable happened. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Hostomel Airport, home of the Antonov fleet, became one of the first strategic targets. The An-225 was stationed there for maintenance. Engineers had no time to fly it to safety. As Russian forces attacked the airfield, the hangar housing the Mriya came under intense fire. Artillery shells and missiles rained down. Explosions tore through the structure. Flames engulfed the building. When the battle finally ended and Ukrainian forces retook the area, the world saw the heartbreaking truth. The Mriya, the only one ever built, had been destroyed. Its once proud fuselage lay broken, wings collapsed, engines shattered, the nose burned away. The dream that had touched the sky was gone. The images spread across the globe in hours. Aviation communities mourned. Engineers, pilots, and fans who had seen it in person posted memories and tributes. News outlets described it as a global cultural loss. For Ukraine, it was more than that. It was a wound to the national spirit, a symbol of the destruction brought by war. Yet even amid the devastation, hope remained. Inside another hangar, not far from where the original was lost, lay the unfinished second An-225. For decades it had sat dormant, its fuselage half complete, waiting for a reason to exist. Now the world began to ask, could the dream fly again? Antonov's engineers confirmed that rebuilding was possible, but not easy. Completing the second airframe or reconstructing a new aircraft from the remains would cost billions of dollars. It would require new technology, international funding, and above all, peace. Still, Ukraine announced its determination. One day, they vowed, the dream would return to the skies. Whether that promise can be fulfilled remains uncertain. But even if the Mriya never flies again, its legacy is secure. The Antonov An-225 was the pinnacle of human engineering, the largest, heaviest, and most powerful aircraft ever to take off. It shattered more than 200 world records, carried impossible loads, and became a bridge between nations in crisis and recovery. It showed what happens when imagination meets courage, when ambition defies limitation. For aviation enthusiasts, it was the ultimate expression of flight, not designed for comfort or efficiency, but for possibility. Seeing it in person was like watching a myth come alive. You didn't just hear the thunder of its 6 engines, you felt it through your chest, a reminder of what humanity can achieve when it refuses to be ordinary. The Mriya's story is also the story of the people who built it and cared for it, the engineers at Antonov who refused to give up on impossible ideas, the pilots who trusted their skill to guide 600 tons of steel and fuel into the air, the mechanics who kept it alive through economic hardship and political turmoil, the airport workers who stood proudly beside it, knowing they were part of something extraordinary. And it's the story of a nation that continues to fight for its own dream of freedom, innovation, and pride. In many ways, the destruction of the An-225 is symbolic. It reminds us that even the greatest human achievements are fragile, that progress and beauty can be lost in moments of violence. But it also reminds us that dreams, once born, never truly die. They live on in the memories of those who believed in them, in the inspiration they leave behind, and in the promise that one day they might rise again. Today, the wreckage of the Mriya remains at Hostomel, a silent monument to what was and what could be again. The second airframe, still resting in storage, waits for its chance. Engineers occasionally visit it, measuring, studying, preserving, preparing for the day when the world is ready to rebuild. Because the An-225 was never just a machine, it was a message, a declaration that humanity's dreams can be made of metal and wings, and that even the heaviest things can fly. When people stood beneath its massive wings, they didn't just see an airplane, they saw possibility. The kind of possibility that fuels invention, unites people, and makes us look to the skies not just with curiosity, but with hope. The Mriya carried space shuttles, turbines, and humanitarian aid, but more than anything, it carried the world's imagination. And though its engines are silent now, its echo continues to inspire future generations of engineers, aviators, and dreamers. Because the dream, like all great dreams, is immortal. When it took off, you could feel the weight of history in its roar. It wasn't just the sound of 6 engines, it was the sound of human ambition, the belief that the sky is not a limit, but an invitation. The Antonov An-225 Mriya showed us what was possible when we dared to build beyond reason. It proved that the biggest dreams can take shape in hangars, that vision can become wings, and that even a single aircraft can unite the world in awe. The dream has fallen, but it will never be forgotten. Somewhere, someday, perhaps another will rise to take its place. And when it does, the world will look up once more and remember the giant that once touched the sky.